Hello, explorers, and welcome to another Q&A episode of Unbroken. I'm your host, Alexandra Amore, and today I want to talk about the field of possibility. So there's that great quote by Rumi that I actually included at the end of my memoir, and it goes like this. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I will meet you there. And to me, that quote speaks to the disagreements that we have in life and the conflict, and how there is a place where we can simply exist in love with one another, where we can set down our differences and just be together with one another and not have that our opinions and our thoughts and our beliefs and the other things that drive us. We can set those down and just be together. And I love that. And then what I wanted to share today has to do with the other way that I think about the field of possibility. And this has to do with when we're trying to resolve an unwanted habit like overeating. Lately, more and more, I recognize how often the opportunity is presented to me to turn to that field of possibility when I've got a problem or a challenge or a question in my life. And until I came across this understanding, it had no one had ever introduced this idea to me. And a few episodes ago, I described it like we are swimming in the sea of universal intelligence. And that's, of course, absolutely true. And I just saw this idea of the field of possibility this morning while I was writing in my journal. And it's really just another way to point toward this place where we can go to for answers. So in my life personally, anytime I come across a challenge or an issue, something I want to resolve, maybe some sort of disruption in my life, or today when I was working in my journal, I was thinking about an unsupportive belief that I have. And the inclination or the habit, I guess we could say, that my mind goes to, the thing it automatically does, is it tries to really dig down and really get its hands around that problem, in this case the unsupportive belief, and hold on to it really tightly and examine it from all kinds of different angles. What does it mean? What does it mean about me, and where did it come from? And where might it have originated, and where else do I see it showing up in my life? And in the past, I would have said that kind of examination was really the way to go, really the helpful thing that would help me to resolve that unsupportive belief. Now I see it completely differently. I see that my mind wants to do all those things, and it does do some of them. It starts to wander away and chew on that and really grapple with whatever's going on. And then, as often as I can, I try to remember that there's another place to look for answers to things. And it's so much more peaceful, and it's less laden with self-blame and shame and embarrassment and those kinds of feelings, which I felt in the past when I've tried to deal with things like that I felt weren't working in my life. And that place is this field of possibility, metaphorically speaking. And when I go there in my awareness, when I just notice what my mind is doing and then take a tiny step to the side, what I feel in the field of possibility is so much different. I feel so much more at ease and softer and wide open. I feel my shoulders go back and my chest open up a little bit. And it's the complete opposite to the way that I feel when when my mind is really grappling with a problem and wrestling with it. Those are good words. It feels like that's what minds do. That when I'm doing it that way, when I'm trying to solve the problem with my mind and with what my mind already knows, I feel very constricted. I feel it's often like I'm turning in circles, kind of bouncing around to the same answers again and again. I feel heavy, weighted down. I feel frustrated very often. Sydney Banks so often said to look toward the feeling, follow the feeling, I think is what he actually said, that's going on within us. And I think this is such a perfect example of that, of how different things can feel when we're taking a new approach to solving the problems that we may have, things like overeating and other unwanted habits. There's such a different feeling to these two approaches. And I really started to appreciate when I noticed that difference, because right away I can tell what's going on in my mind and whether or not it's going to be helpful. So we have this built-in feedback system that I so often talk about and that I learned initially from Mavis Karn. And that is that when what Mavis says is you can't slip a thought past the body. So whatever's going on in our minds, we feel that in our bodies, and we can then immediately and automatically tell the quality of our thinking. So if our thinking is really constricted, and if we're really coming from that circular, heavy place in our minds, we can feel that right away. We'll feel those feelings, and they might be slightly different for you, but I'm sure that you can feel the difference. We'll feel that. And that the difference then between that and the field of possibility, where the answers don't necessarily appear right away. I mean, that's something I've had to learn as well, that I can step into that field and then just leave things alone. And the answer will come. Maybe not immediately, and maybe not on a timeline that I, would prefer, but the answers will come. In that field of possibility, it's all fresh thinking, and it's all creative and things that we haven't thought of in the past. There are infinite possibilities there in the field of possibility. It's so different from the knowledge loop that I've talked about in the past on this podcast that our mind gets caught in. Our minds know what they know, and they like what they know, and they really want to focus on just finding solutions that way from the like if you picture a little grocery shelf, they only want to choose from the things that are there on the shelf. And then when we step away from the shelves, that's where the field of possibility is. What else might be possible? And that's a question I tend to ask myself quite often. What else could potentially be here? What other answers might be available to me related to this issue, whatever it is, whether it's an argument with a spouse or an overeating habit, something we're trying to resolve in that way. So I just wanted to bring this up and share that metaphor with you. It's something that's present with me a lot these days. I really am appreciating how valuable it is to know about the field of possibility in our life. So I hope you're doing well and taking good care. And if you have any questions at all about this or any other topic, please let me know. You can go to alexandraamor.com/question, and I'll be happy to answer your question on a future episode. So take care, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.